This video is for activity 18.2, using the formula with care, quadratic formula, of course. So for this activity, they give you 4 equations. They want you to solve 1 or 2 of them. I feel like you should solve all of them to get the practice. There are 4 of them. So you're solving each quadratic equation using quadratic formula, and then there's a sample solution that has an error somewhere attached to each equation. I'll do the first one for you just to get an idea of how this works. So when we solve using quadratic formula, we need to identify A, B, and C. And then we got to substitute those into the formula and simplify. So this first equation, it's not given in standard form. Right, A, B, and C, they come from the standard form ax squared plus bx plus c. A is the coefficient of x squared, b is the coefficient of x, c is the constant term. The equation 1, well, 2x squared and 3 are on one side, but then 8x on the other side. So we have to bring that over so that we have something that looks like standard form. And not to mention, you can't even apply a quadratic formula unless you have standard form equal to 0. So that's another motivation for why we got to do what we got to do. So we must have standard form equal to 0 to use quadratic formula. So we have to manipulate this equation before we use quadratic formula. So if we just subtract 8x from both sides, and then write the terms in a certain order, where we can see what A, B, and C are most clearly. So 2x squared. I'm going to put the minus 8x because that can give us the b value if it's where it usually is. Plus 3 equals 0. Okay, this is standard form equals 0, so we were all ready to use the quadratic formula. So notice that a is 2, b is negative 8, right? Gotta include negative. C is positive 3. So quadratic formula, x is plus or minus negative b. That is not even close. What am I doing? Let's try that again. Negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac. Divide the whole thing by 2 times a. All right. Good to write out the formula first so we don't use it incorrectly, right? Let's start making our substitutions. Negative 8, right? B is negative 8 plus or minus negative 8 in parentheses squared minus 4 times 2 times 3. All that over 2 times 2. All right, let's start to simplify. Negative 8 is just positive 8. So 8 plus minus, let's see, negative 8 squared, 64, minus 4 times 2 times 3, so 4 times 6, so minus 24. So really, simplifying on that square root, just simplify this first and then worry about the rest, right? Multiply those 2 separate things out, and then we're going to subtract them, or sometimes you have to add them in the next step, right? 2 times 2 is 4, that goes here. Okay, we can simplify under the square root. I'm going to do that here. 8 plus minus square root of 40 divided by 4. And then you can simplify the square root 40. I think we're able to do that at this point. 8 plus minus, so 4 is a perfect square that goes into 40. So square root 40 is square root 4 times 10. So square root of 4, you get 2, keep square root 10 as it is. That is not a perfect square. There are no perfect squares that go into 10 besides 1. So 8 plus or minus 2 root 10 over 4. We can simplify a little bit, right? 8 over 4, 2 over 4, it's not impossible to do, right? 8 over 4 is 2. And then, so because we have addition, subtraction in the numerator, you can simplify this and then this. So that's what I'm doing here. So 8 over 4 is 2. 2 over 4 is 1/2. So 1/2 root 10. So because the plus minus is there, it's ambiguous. We got split into plus and minus separately. So x is, that wasn't well written. X is going to equal, in the first case, 2 plus 1/2 square root 10, or x equals 2 minus 1/2 square root 10. And you can stop here. If you want to find a common denominator, you may do so, but I would take a break at this point. You just have to split into the plus and the minus. I'm not going to really worry about more simplifying unless I say so. All right. You do have to square root. You do have to simplify that square root 40 though. So if we now go to the worked out solution with an error somewhere, let's try to find it. So you look through it. Okay, they identified A, B, and C correctly. I mean, you don't see them subtracting 8x on both sides, but we did say B was -8. And they substitute all in. They do a good job with the parentheses. Okay, up until this line, it looks okay. It looks just like what we were doing up there. Okay, you got square root 40. Then they say x is just 2 plus or minus square root 10. That's not what we got before. So they must have done 8 divided by 4, you get 2. Then how do they get square root 10? It's almost as if they just took square root 40 and divided the 40 by 4, but you can't really do that, right? The 4 is not in any square root, so the square root kind of separates the 40 and the 4, so that's not correct right there. So that would have been the error. That's all I'm going to show you in this video. So solve equation 2, and I encourage you to do the other ones as well, just for the practice. All right. It's very easy to make a simple arithmetic mistake when using quadratic formula. So practice, practice, practice.